All right, guys, 6-1 to 6-4 test is tomorrow. I'm going to say this a couple times. I need you to listen to me. Pay attention. The only formula that you will be given is the law of cosines. Heron's formula, area when you have two sides in the included angle, the angle between two vectors formula, that you guys have to know. The only formula you're going to get is the law of cosines. So you'll have questions from law of sines, law of cosines. You'll have a Heron's formula. You'll have an area. You guys, that's from 6-1, 6-2. You guys have your quizzes back from that. Then the rest of it is from 6-3, 6-4. I think there's 14 questions. I'm going to go through everything to make sure you guys don't have any questions, that you understand how questions are being asked, that sort of thing. Then at the end, if you have any extra questions, let me know. But in this first question, when they ask you for component form and magnitude, guys, component form is what minus what? Terminal minus initial. You have to remember that. Magnitude. How do you find the magnitude? Okay, you're going to take vector 1 squared plus the second part of the vector and square it. Add it together. So in this question, when they say component form, x's stay with x's, y's stay with y's. So you would have 6 minus 7. Does everybody understand that? Because 6 minus 7 is negative 1. What is 7 minus 6? 7 minus 6 is? No.
6 plus 6 minus 7.
Okay, it should be written 6 minus 7, which is what value? Negative 1. If you flip it, and you do 7 minus 6, you get positive 1. Those are two totally different answers. You have to remember that it is terminal minus initial. So then the second thing that I would look at would be negative 10 minus negative 4. Very easy to make silly mistakes here. So my vector that I just found is, what is 6 minus 7? Negative 1, good. And what's negative 10 minus the negative 4? Negative 6. Notice, please, how I wrote my answer. Did I write negative 6 comma negative 1 in parentheses? No. If you write it in parentheses, you're telling me it's a point. That is not the correct answer. You need to have it in vector form, so it's got the little V's on the side. Everybody see that? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, now if they ask you for the magnitude, you would say, okay, the magnitude is negative 1 squared plus negative 6 squared. What's negative 1 squared? 1 plus negative 6 squared. So your magnitude is root 37. If you can break it down, break it down. If not, just leave it as root whatever. Guys, you have a calculator, so if you make a silly mistake of negative 6 squared is 12, that's wrong. Put everything in the calculator if you're going to have questions or anything like that, just so you don't make silly mistakes. So in this case, terminal minus initial, it's going to be what minus what? Tell me. 0 minus negative 5, good. And then what? Negative 11 minus negative 9. 0 minus negative 5 is 5, comma, negative 11 minus negative 9, negative 2. There's my vector. To find the magnitude, guys, I would say what? 5 squared plus negative 2 squared. So I have 25 plus 4. So my magnitude is root 29. Questions? It's a very simple concept, but a lot of places to make mistakes. Again, terminal minus initial. So I have 2 minus 1, comma, negative 7 minus 5. Agreed? Okay, so 2 minus 1 is 1. Negative 7 minus 5 is negative 7 minus 5. Negative 12. Good. So there's my vector, and then my magnitude would be 1 squared. 1 squared plus negative 12 squared. So it'd be 1 plus 144, root 145. And if it breaks down, great, break it down. If it doesn't, then leave it. Questions on that part? All right, secondly, when we get down here, you're going to do operations. You're going to add vectors, you're going to multiply, you're going to subtract, and then you're going to do dot products. On the directions for the dot product ones, I wrote, for the following, find the dot product, so you guys don't get confused at what I'm asking. But these first 3 questions, guys, 4, 5, and 6, you're going to get a vector answer, because what you're doing here is you're adding vector u to vector v. So the first thing I suggest you do is write down what is vector u. Negative 2, 5. Plus, what is vector v? Negative 3, 6. Correct? So, first with first. Second with second. What is negative 2 plus negative 3? Negative 5. Comma, what is 5 plus 6? 11. There is your vector answer. Written as a vector with the correct notation. Everybody with me? Okay. If you guys have questions as we go, let me know. So what are we doing here in 5? What's going on in 5?
You're
Subtracting W from V. Just make sure when you write this, you write the numbers correctly. You have all of your signs right, because if you miss a sign here, then the whole thing is wrong. So just make sure. Now, some people want to distribute the negative first. You can do that. Or you can just subtract. I'm going to keep the subtraction sign there. I'm going to say 1 minus negative 3 is what? 1 minus negative 3. 4. Good. And then I have 7 minus 6.
1.
There's my vector. In this case, what am I doing? You're going to multiply 2 times vector v first, which is negative 3, 6. Minus 3 times vector w, which is 1, 7. Okay, so yesterday some people asked me, is that a negative 3 or do I distribute the negative? I personally would distribute a negative 3. So I would say 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. 2 times 6 is 12. Agree with me? Okay, so I'm going to change the sign to a plus, and I'm going to say negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, and negative 3 times 7 is negative 21. If you didn't do that, you would keep a minus in the middle, and then you would have 3 comma 21. And then you'd have to do the minus as you go through. It doesn't matter how you do it. You just have to make sure that that minus gets accounted for at some point. So now I have first with first, negative 6 plus negative 3 is what? Negative 9, good. Then I have 12 and negative 21. Negative 9, there's your vector. But do you see how in all three of these problems, we came out with a vector answer? Okay? When we do dot products, which you guys on the test, it'll say find the dot product of the following. When you find the dot product, you're going to have one single answer. So this is asking you for the dot product between u and v. So what is vector u? Negative 2, 5. And what is vector v? Negative 3, 6. How do you guys find the dot products? What do we do? Multiply what? First times first plus what? Second times second. So you have negative 2 times negative 3 plus 5 times 6. If I don't see work and all I see is answers, you're not getting credit. You have to show me that you know what you're doing. At this point, I don't need you to show me that you multiplied. You can just say 6 plus 30, and your dot product is 36. But do you see how you have a solid one answer? Yes or no? It's not going to be written as a vector. It's just a number. So the same thing is going to go here. What are we doing? Okay, so dot product of negative 3, 6, and u is 1, 7. Yeah. So first times first. Negative 3 times 1 plus 6 times 7. Negative 3 plus 42 is how much? 39. Good. If I come here, before I find the dot product, what do I have to do first? Distribute. So I'm going to multiply 5 times u, which is negative 2, 5. And then I'm going to multiply negative 2 times w, which was 1, 7. Correct? Okay, so distribute first. You have negative 10, comma 25. And then you have negative 2, negative 14. Agreed? Yes or no? Okay, dot product would be negative 10 times negative 2 plus 25 times negative 14. Negative 10 and negative 2. 20. Minus, what's 25 and negative 14? Negative 350. So what is your dot product? Negative what? 330. Negative 330. Okay, good. Questions on those? All right, you guys will not be given this next formula. You're going to find the angle between two vectors. To find, say it again. Yeah, sure. Which one? The last one? Yeah, sure. Guys, in order to find the angle between the vectors, remember it's cosine of theta. So that means at the end, what are you going to put in your calculator? Cosine negative 1. Second cosine. It's the magnitude. Yes, sir. Yeah. It's the magnitude of. It's the dot product of u and v divided by the magnitude of u and v. So the dot product of u and v over the magnitude of u and v. You guys will not get that formula. So dot product of u and v, it's going to be 6 times what? 6 times what? 6 times what? Plus negative 2 times 8. Then I have the magnitude. So I'm going to say 6 squared plus negative 2 squared. And then the magnitude, 4 squared plus 8 squared. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Is it okay if we just do the dot product and the two magnitudes separately and then just put it together into the formula after?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So here you have 24 minus 16, right?
It's dot product on first and magnitude.
Yep. So 24 minus 16, and then here I have 36 plus 4, which is root 40. And then here I have 16 plus 64, which is 80. Mm-hmm. All right, when you get to this point, guys, 24 minus 16 is 8, yes? Mm-hmm. When you get here, does the square root of 40 and square root of 80 break down? It does. But do you have to? No. You have to be able to put this in your calculator. If you put this in your calculator and get domain error, then you did something wrong. I'm not going to give you any of these where they don't work. So it can be tricky. If you don't know how to put this in your calculator, you need to ask me now. If you want to simplify it a little more to make your entry a little easier, what's 40 times 80? What's 4 times 8? 32, so it's 3,200. If you do this in your calculator, you need to hit second cosine. So it says cosine negative 1. So you have 8. Then when you hit divided by, another parenthesis will come up, correct? Because you have to do square root of 3,200. So then you have to close that parenthesis, but then you have to close the parenthesis. So that's what it should look like when you put it in your calculator. When you do that, what do you get as an answer? 81.87 degrees. If you forget to hit cosine negative 1 or second cosine, you should come out with a decimal. That should be a reminder to you that says, oh, wait a second, I'm looking for an angle measure, not what the cosine of the angle is. You should get a larger number than 0.32 something. That makes sense. Practice putting this in your calculator so you guys don't have questions tomorrow.
We can't leave it as 8 over 6.
No. You're finding the measure of the angle. So here, cosine of theta is dot product on the top. So negative 2 times negative 7 plus 8 times 1 over the magnitude. So negative 2 squared plus 8 squared times the magnitude of v, which is negative 7 squared plus 1 squared. So I have 14 plus 8, which is 22. Good. So here I have 4, and 64 is what? Root 68. And then I have 49 and 1, which is root 50. You can put that in your calculator just like that. Could be a little tricky. If you want to multiply 68 and 50 and get 3,400, you can do this. So in your calculator, because I'm looking for an angle measure, you would hit Cosine -1. And it'll say 22, and then you have root 34 on the bottom. Close the parenthesis, close the parenthesis. When you do that in your calculator, what do you guys get? 67 point what? Okay. So 67.83 degrees. You're finding an angle measure, make sure you put degrees. Last one, let's do this quickly. We're almost done. Cosine theta equals dot product on the top. So -4 times 0 plus 1 times 9 over magnitude would be -4 squared plus 1 squared and 0 squared plus 9 squared. So you have 0 plus 9. So you have 9 over 4 squared is 16 plus 1. So root 17 over square root of 81, which is square root of 81, which is 9. Okay, so you could put this in your calculator like this. You could multiply 17 and 81 and put it under one big radical. It doesn't matter. But you need to, in your calculators, hit second cosine, and then you have 9 divided by, what's 17 times 81? If you want to do square root of 1377, close that parenthesis and close the whole thing. What do y'all get? No, I calculated.
You said 1377?
Yeah. 75.96 what? Degrees. Good. Questions? Are you guys getting that formula on the test? No. Okay. Last thing we're going to talk about is if something is orthogonal or not. What is the dot product if the two vectors are orthogonal? 0. In order for you guys to get credit for this question, you cannot just tell me yes or no. You have to show me that you understand you use the dot product. So I would say, this is how I would show you. 4 times -3 plus -6 times -2. God bless. What's 4 times -3? God bless. -12. Plus, what is -6 times -2? 12. Answer is 0. Are they orthogonal? Yes. Takes 2 seconds to show me that. Now, in order to graph them and show me graphically that they are orthogonal, guys, it's just like plotting a point. God bless you. So my first vector is at 4, -6. So I'm going to go right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 6. So about here. So that's my vector. My second vector is at -3, -2. So I go left 3, down 2. There's my second vector. What does the word orthogonal mean in math? What do these two form? They're perpendicular. You form a right angle. That's how you graphically show me, guys, that they are orthogonal. You graph them and then show me with your notation that it forms a right angle. Yes, sir. Yeah. Just one on one side. Does that make sense, everybody? Graphing wise. All right. Yeah, go ahead. Question? No? You're good? Okay. So here, are these orthogonal, yes or no? Well, show me yes or no. 10 times what? -5 plus 13 times -8. What's 10 times -5? -50. Minus, what's 13 times 8? What is it? 104? So when I combine those, what's -50 and -104? -154. Algebraically, are these two orthogonal?
No.
No. If they were, what would your dot product be?
0.
0. So graphing this, so my first one is at 10, 13. So I go right 10, up 13. So it's about here. Guys, I'm almost done. Please stop talking. My second is going to be at -5, -8. So I go left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About here.
Wait, when is it? Yes.
if their dot product is 0. But guys, look, when I graph this, does that look like it meets at a right angle? No. So graphically, you showed me that they are not orthogonal. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay. So tomorrow, law of sines, law of cosines. On the test, you do not have to worry about the ambiguous case. You do not have to tell me if there's more than one triangle. There could be a case where there is more than one triangle, then I will take either answer that you give me, but I'm not asking you to solve for both triangles. That's not the main focus there. But you need to know law of sines, law of cosines. You have to memorize Heron's formula. Does anybody remember what Heron's formula is? No.
Isn't that all?
S equals A plus B plus C divided by 2. Then once you find what S is, you have the square root, and it's S times S minus A, S minus B, S minus C. So if you don't know that, write it down. You have to know about the area if I give you 2 sides and one of the angles that is included. How do you find the area if I give you 2 sides and the angle that's included? Remember? You take side 1 times side 2 times what? Anybody? Awesome. The sine of the angle that they give you, and you're going to divide it by what?
2.
Yep. Or you can do 1/2, whichever you like. But you're not getting those formulas. If you don't know that, then you're going to get those wrong. All right, vector formula. You need to know how to find the dot product, right? Dot product is first times first plus second times second. You need to know magnitude. Magnitude is when you take the square root of the first part of the vector plus the second part of the vector squared. And then the formula for the angle between 2 vectors is that dot product in the numerator divided by the magnitude of u times the magnitude of v. Sure can. Guys, it's a very straightforward test. It will probably take you the whole class period because there's a lot of computation. It's not incredibly difficult. There's a lot of stuff to remember. But if you have a calculator, you can use it. And you should be good to go. And what? Say it again. It's what? Yeah.
We're not giving any formulas at all.
Just law of cosines.
Okay.
I'm going to give you like a side formula, like a squared equals b squared minus c squared, or b squared plus c squared minus, I'll give you that for that question. But none of the other ones. Just say that you found, Emma, that S was 15. And then the sides were 20. Hold on. The sides were 10, 8, and 6. I would simplify this way. Guys, shh. 15 minus 10 is 10. 15 minus 8 is 7. 15 minus 6 is 9.
Wait, isn't the first one?
5, yeah. Sorry. I would then multiply these together, then take the square root of that. Just go step by step. That's fine. All right, so we're good?